I feel like a lot happened while I was reviewing JRPGs last month, as I had a lot to look at during my news catch-up session. From new releases that people are excited about to unexpected ones too, there's no shortage of things going on in the world of JRPGs, even if a lot of the news is for things on the horizon, as things remain quieter on the JRPG front this month, except for Atelier Lulua, which just came out, and I hope to be playing it when this video goes up. With that in mind, there's plenty to talk about this month, from Detective Pikachu to Final Fantasy VII. So with that, let's get right into this episode of JRPG Quick Takes. After a long period of no trailers and basically silence about the Final Fantasy VII Remake, PlayStation's State of Play event showed a teaser trailer for the game which showcased improved graphics, gameplay, and the beautiful design of Aerith. The gameplay showed what looks to be more of an action-based take on the game this time round, more reminiscent of something like Final Fantasy XV rather than the original turn-based system, which I don't personally mind as long as the battles are challenging and make you use that system with some kind of technique, but it's still hard to get a good look at this system, although I am looking forward to swinging around that big Buster Sword. Since I haven't played the original Final Fantasy VII, I can't comment on how the trailer compares to the original, but seeing this new one did prompt me to look at its 2015 trailer, and it's really interesting comparing the two. Cloud's features look a lot better and more refined in the new one. The old one's gameplay featured what I thought to be more of a turn-based or traditional looking Final Fantasy UI with a menu for magic and attacking, so it's interesting to see what's possibly been changed in recent years. As someone who hasn't played 7 but at least knows who the characters are, seeing how beautiful Aerith's design looked with her hair, voice, and flower giving was great too, and she seems quite charming so far, with the small moment between her and Cloud in the trailer having a nice feeling to it, and partnered with that little flash of what looked to be Sephiroth in the end, the trailer did bring back some of my interest to try this story thanks to the characters. More information is said to be coming in June, and I'm crossing my fingers for some kind of date or release window for the first episode to play, and what I think looks like an interesting take on the original game, so I hope we see more of it next time. Persona 5 Royal was finally revealed as a re-release of Persona 5 reminiscent of Persona 4 Golden with its extra content, including a new Phantom Thief, a new area to explore, and more story events among other things. Its first proper promo video makes it look fantastic, showing off the new town of Kichijoji, which seems to have new places to hang out at and build your personality parameters, a new confidant in the form of a school counselor, some new cool looking attacks which I hope include a cool finisher artwork for Futaba from what they've shown, new events, and of course, lots of its new Phantom Thief, Kasumi Yoshizawa. With style, grace, and a killer outfit, Kasumi is a character I'm very intrigued by so far. I love her design, and hearing that there's more to her than that first trailer that showed a different side of her is exciting, so I can't wait to see what she plays like, what her personality's like more, and just to play Persona 5 again. I can hardly wait since I haven't touched Persona 5 for a good while now, despite a few times where I've really wanted to recently, but I left it alone in the hopes of a Switch port or something like that. So although Persona 5 Royal will be on PS4 again, the new content is fantastic enough to make these additions to Persona 5 something I 100% have to play with. And in what I personally never saw coming, Persona 5S wasn't the Switch port of the original Persona 5 game that a lot of people, including myself, were expecting, and ended up being a collaboration between Atlus and Koei Tecmo called Persona 5 Scramble, coming to PS4 and Nintendo Switch. Labeled as the first action RPG in the Persona series, Persona 5 Scramble appears to be a Musou game in the spirit of Koei Tecmo's Warrior games, a type of game style that I've always noticed people are very love or hate about. I've only played demos of Warrior games and didn't mind them, but they're not something I'd have expected to come to the Persona series, and I was honestly a little disappointed like others were initially when this was revealed not to be the original Persona 5 on Switch. But there's been a bit of time between now and when this was announced last month, and I've become a bit more open to the idea. After all, Persona has experimented with plenty of styles in recent years, such as with rhythm games and fighters, so I'm willing to let this game be my first proper warrior one, and I'm curious to see what its story will be like with that interesting character at the end of the trailer. Out of the two games, I'm naturally much more keen for Persona 5 Royal, as it's more what I like to play usually, but I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts below on what you think of these two upcoming Persona 5 games. In a highly amusing headline, it was reported last month that Atelier Lulua's front cover had been cropped and changed, confusing most people who heard about it, as it seems that they cropped out a poor innocent horse. This horse removal, of course, seemed like an odd move. I saw articles saying it was perhaps because of Lulua's short skirt and Sony's recent policies on censorship, and the horse was just collateral. My initial thought was that it was maybe to put Lulua in the center of the picture, but overall, this was just an odd change that I really wanted to know the reason for. I did email Koei Tecmo to ask about this one and didn't hear back, but I did find while researching that someone put a screenshot of a Twitter DM received from Koei Tecmo explaining that this change was more to do with regions and store shelves. I am paraphrasing, but the message basically explained that Japan puts their logos at the bottom, whereas the West usually puts them at the top so the logo isn't covered in Western retail stores, and if the visual wasn't cropped the way it was, the logo would end up covering Lulua's face, which naturally wouldn't be acceptable. If you look at the composition of both pictures, this really does seem to ring true and makes a lot more sense than cutting out a horse, so I'm glad to hear that this one isn't some weird censorship or horsing around, and simply just Koei Tecmo trying to make the game look its best in stores. Also, I wanted to briefly mention that the Atelier Lulua Deluxe Pack on PSN, Steam, and Nintendo eShop includes the Lulua Season Pass I talked about last episode, with the pack going for a total of $74.99 as opposed to the standard game being $59.99. The Deluxe Pack is said to offer both the game and the Lulua Season Pass together at a discount. And while the price for the Lulua Pass itself isn't up when I'm making this, the individual items seem to be going for around $3.50 each on Nintendo eShop as regular DLC when you look at the pack, with 5 pieces of DLC bundled with this game and a bonus for those who get it before June. So to me, this seemed like an okay deal and I pre-ordered that version. Since the Lulua pack is a season pass and not just DLC, most of these DLC items will be out at a later date, so I can't show them off yet, but I'll show some of the extra costumes, and I would be interested in seeing the prices and even possibly picking out the Toturi and Maruru packs that Japan got that I assume we'll get to because I want to try the story content and also let you guys know if they're worth it. So if a kind of DLC or season pass review or outline would be something you'd be interested in seeing for Lulua, please let me know in the comments below. Also, before the next topic, one of my lovely subscribers, Maro, asked if Atelier Lulua has an English dub, and so everyone knows, I'm adding this in to say that Lulua has a Japanese dub and no English one this time round. This will be a small bummer for some. I also like the English voices for Verona, Toturi, and Maruru, so it would have been really cool to see them reprise their roles, but the Japanese cast voices are great too. So for me, it's not a deal breaker, but I'd always be interested in hearing your thoughts in the comments below if this would affect your purchase. If you haven't seen the absolute joy of a movie that Detective Pikachu is, it's out in cinemas worldwide now. I didn't have any time in the last couple of weeks between reviews to write something about how much I loved it, so I wanted to at least talk about it a little here because I really liked it. I was actually really surprised at how much I enjoyed it. When I was a kid, I loved the Pokemon anime, Pokemon Blue, Gold, and Crystal, and then kind of fell out of being into Pokemon until Pokemon Go and Let's Go Pikachu last year. But this movie did such a good job of capturing the nostalgic Pokemon dream that I'm sure a few of you had as a kid too, with Pokemon running through the city, being a Pokemon trainer being a regular part of life, and Pokemon being like companions. And the way I felt seeing all those Pokemon running around really ignited that nostalgia and made me instantly like the movie. I was also surprised how genuinely funny and heartwarming the movie's moments were. Caffeine-addicted Pikachu is hilarious, the other characters are enjoyable and likable, and the scenes that embrace Pokemon's personalities and traits with Pokemon like Psyduck or Mr. Mime were really fun, and I was really impressed at how a Hollywood movie like this highlighted these things so well. And as for heartwarming moments, I did cry in the movie at least once. The visual style of all the Pokemon really grew on me too. Before I saw the movie, I thought Pikachu and the other Pokemon looked kind of hairy. I know that's weird, but after seeing them in action, I really liked how they looked and moved, and I think they were really true to the art style while also making it look good for this kind of live action movie. Overall, I love Detective Pikachu, and I'm already looking forward to picking it up on Blu-ray when it comes out. So if you haven't seen it, if you love the idea of a movie that captures the Pokemon dream life with humor and heart, I would really recommend this wonderful movie. Over the last couple of months, the website for Dragon Star Varnir has been receiving updates detailing its characters and systems for its upcoming June release. You can read these on the website, but I wanted to highlight some of the systems that have been outlined, particularly the ones I didn't try in its first few hours, since although its multi-tiered battle system already looks interesting, it looks like there's plenty more where that came from. The first thing I read about was its elixir system, where you can throw dragon parts like claws and skin into a pot and turn them into an elixir that will summon a special dragon. You can then fight this dragon to obtain rare equipment that you can't find anywhere else in the game, and depending on which catalyst you use, you can change the equipment type and the rarity of the drop for a bit of customization. Another system detailed is a gifting system where you can gift things you find in dungeons and shops to the girls to try and raise your affinity with them. Each girl has different preferences, and if you raise your affinity enough, you can unlock a special event with them. So this sounds like a good way to get to know the characters and to give some love to your best girl. Lastly, a system I had been wanting to hear about was its Feeding the Little Sisters system, which had some information about it that makes me even more interested in trying it. At the Witch's Den, you can feed these little sisters to receive extra items from them, which is important as they also have the Witch's Curse that means they'll go mad without dragon blood. But feeding them a lot can be a double-edged sword. Feeding them raises both their satisfaction meter and their dragon growth gauge, with raising the satisfaction meter to certain levels, making the sisters give you a gift. But since this also raises the dragon growth gauge, if you fill that one completely, a dragon will be released from the girl, which you can devour to get its skills, which could be good, but the website says that this system is about choosing between great power or the lives of those you care about, indicating that this could perhaps hurt or even kill the sister. So there's definitely a level of morality to consider when doing this. I really enjoyed Dragon Star Varnir when I played its first chapter months ago, and reading about the systems I was curious about in more detail refreshed some of my excitement for it. So as long as I can finish Atelier Lulua before it's out, I look forward to hopefully trying it next month. There's been a lot of release dates and JRPGs announced between this Quick Takes and the Lost, and some of these I had to cut out since I either didn't have a lot to say about them or they're out by the time this video is out, like Yakuza Kiwami 2 for PC. But these are the JRPG announcements that caught my eye this time round and are coming very soon. So far, only for Japan, Blue Wing Chevalier has been announced to be coming July 25th in Japan, and the only reason I'm mentioning it is that it's coming exclusively to PS Vita. This game is said to be a remake of another JRPG called Students of Round, and is said to be more of a traditional fantasy and dungeon RPG. There's been no word of it coming to the West, and with the PS Vita out of production, it's probably not likely. I just found it interesting to see the Vita still getting games in Japan sometimes, so I thought I'd give it a mention, even just for a small nostalgia moment for that wonderful handheld. In another odd move, a Neptunia Shooter game should be out by the time this video is up on Steam, and it looks really fun and cute. From idle games to its upcoming 2D RPG, the Neptunia series is another that likes experimenting with other genres, and this little shooter that features the fun characters from the series is certainly no exception. Neptunia Shooter will launch for a nice $4.99 on Steam, which is pretty tempting, so I hope fans enjoy this cute-looking, retro-inspired series spin-off. There were a few trailers for the Trails of Cold Steel series this past month, with Trails of Cold Steel 2 finally getting a release date for June 4th, and Cold Steel 3's new Allies trailer being released. I personally still need to work out my backlog life to play the first one, but I did watch the trailer for the third, and the lovely music got me in, and I like the look of the school setting. So I hope Trails fans enjoyed these trailers too, and I hope how good they look will give me more of a push to finally get to them. Arc of Alchemist has received a release window for winter this year. I didn't know much about Arc of Alchemist before receiving this press release, but it looks like an RPG where you can fight monsters RPG style and also build bases. And since I've been on an alchemy kick of a different kind recently, the title alone had me a little intrigued. What also had me intrigued was how familiar the desert in its newest screenshots looked. And after a little thought, I realized the desert itself and even some of the fonts and UI used look very similar to ones used in Death End Request. I'll put both on the screen so you can see what I mean and let me know if you agree or not, but since Compile Heart has reused assets before in other games, I wouldn't be surprised. surprised. This doesn't affect my own interest in the game, I just thought it was interesting, and I do look forward to seeing more trailers for this game soon to decide if I want to pick it up. Also, speaking of Death End requests, last week the interesting visual novel Cross RPG hit Steam for PC players. I had a lot of fun with it on PS4, so I've been happy to hear that more people have been trying it since this release. The interesting take on the stuck in an MMO premise with plenty of mystery and a uniquely fun battle system made it very enjoyable, and I still need to go back and play the content that came with my deluxe pack, hopefully sooner rather than later. The deluxe pack on Steam also seems to put the game at a 20% discount with the extra content on top, which is nice. So I recommend this game if you think it looks good, and I hope I can get to more of its bad ends at some point. In an announcement I'm surprisingly excited about, Mary Skelter 2 will be coming to Switch sometime, with a release window yet to be announced. At first I had low interest in this series since it was a first-person dungeon crawler, as for some reason for a long time that perspective just looked weird to me, but now Zonky Zero has shown me that first-person dungeon crawlers aren't that bad and have their own good points. I'm finally able to appreciate how cool these Mary Skelter games look and how much they're up my alley. I love that cool, dark aesthetic and the premise of its dungeons being jails, and its cool character designs have me pretty interested in trying this now, but I was initially thinking I couldn't because I haven't played the first one. It seems Idea Factory kept in mind that other Switch users wouldn't have tried Mary Skelter before either, as they're throwing in the first one with Mary Skelter 2, and it's been updated with better balance and revamped systems, making it a great option for those like me who are new to the series. I'll be waiting for that release window to see if I decide to pick this one up, but I'm definitely interested and I hope it's as cool as it looks, as its trailers make it look pretty good. Mary Skelter 2 was originally my last point I had lined up for this video, but now Gust have dropped a teaser video revealing a new project and that they'll have more information about it in the next few days. My mind immediately jumped to Atelier and Blue Reflection, and while it doesn't look very Blue Reflection-y, the small clip is a little Atelier-ish, so I wonder if this will be information on perhaps a new trilogy or something else entirely. Let me know what you think it is in the comments, and let's all look forward to hearing more details about it on May 28th. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on all of these topics and which of the games I mentioned you want to pick up. And a special thanks to GoToYou29 on Twitter and Maro and Dynasty Star in the comments for giving me some ideas for some of these topics. It was a great help, and if you submitted a topic that I didn't use, I am sorry, I had to cut a lot out, but please keep submitting anything you'd like me to cover. I really want to cover things you want to hear about, so let me know in the comments or on social media. You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. And until next time, thank you, bye!